All right, let's dive straight into this explainer and tackle what is honestly a massive goal. We're going to cut through all the crazy noise out there and give you a purely pragmatic 12-month roadmap to landing an entry-level back-end engineering job. You know, if you're a self-taught programmer, or maybe you're just looking to finally structure your learning, the sheer volume of technologies you're told to learn can feel incredibly overwhelming. It's like a giant puzzle with too many pieces. But today, we're stripping all of that away. We're going to look at the essential step-by-step path to take you from day one to entirely job-ready.
So here's our game plan. We've broken down this journey into 5 very manageable milestones you need to hit over the next year. First, pick one language. Then, track your code with Git. Third, master CS fundamentals. Fourth, understand databases. And finally, build APIs with frameworks.
All right, let's kick things off with step 1. Pick one programming language.
Now, your programming language is your absolute core tool. But right off the bat, we need to address a massive trap that beginners fall into literally all the time. Look at your main options here. You've got JavaScript, Python, Ruby, Java, C#, and Go. A lot of beginners try to learn like 3 or 4 of these at the exact same time, thinking that stacking them on a resume is going to magically increase their job prospects. Honestly, it simply doesn't work that way. Learning the syntax of a language is really just step 1. To actually get hired, you have to know the vast ecosystem of tools and libraries for that specific language. So do yourself a huge favor. Just stick to one. Do a little research on your local job market, see what's actually in demand where you live, and just commit to it.
Now, you might be wondering, which one is the absolute best? Well, there really is no single best language. It depends entirely on the kind of work you want to be doing. Python and Ruby, for example, are incredibly popular for rapid prototyping and fast development cycles, so think fast-moving startups. On the flip side, Java and C# are what I like to call the heavy lifters. They're highly structured, heavily used for building large-scale enterprise-grade applications for huge organizations and government systems. Then you've got JavaScript, which is awesome if you want to be a full-stack developer, since it runs on both the front and back end. Though, fair warning, it does carry some weird historical baggage since it wasn't originally built for back-end work. And Go? That's your go-to for performance-critical, highly concurrent apps. But hey, if you are totally stuck and spinning your wheels, I highly recommend Python for its super readable syntax, or Java, which is just a phenomenal choice for building a rock-solid software engineering foundation.
The real secret here is to not overthink it. Just pick a language and dedicate exactly 2 months to learning it. Seriously, if you spend just 3 to 5 hours every day studying and actively writing code, 2 months is all it takes to get a really solid grasp on any of the languages we just talked about.
Moving right along to step 2, track code with Git.
So Git is a version control system. It tracks changes to your code and lets you collaborate on platforms like GitHub. And let me be clear, it is absolutely non-negotiable for a modern developer. Now, Git is a massive tool. It has a ton of incredibly complex features, but you really need to remember the 80-20 rule here. 80% of the time, you're only going to use 20% of Git's commands in your day-to-day work. You absolutely do not need to read a massive textbook on every single Git command out there. Just dedicate 1 to 2 weeks of focused practice. That is more than enough to get you up, running, and collaborating effectively.
All right, now for step 3, master computer science fundamentals.
Okay, we need to talk about this because this is the step that self-taught programmers literally always try to skip, and doing so is a huge mistake. Building backends often means handling complex data and implementing some pretty tricky algorithms. A lot of self-taught devs try to just rush past this, desperately chasing the next shiny tool or framework. But you've got to swallow the bitter pill here. Data structures and algorithms are absolutely critical subjects. I mean, they are the bread and butter of what university computer science students learn, and they are heavily tested in tech interviews, especially if your goal is to ever work at big tech companies like Apple, Google, or Microsoft. You need to carve out 1 to 2 months deeply studying classic data structures and algorithms. And it's not just about passing some interview test, it's about building a really strong foundation in problem solving. If you skip this, you are for sure going to feel the pain later in your career when you're actually trying to scale a real-world application.
Furthermore, to really round out those fundamentals, you need to dedicate another 2 months to learning design patterns. Basically, these are proven solutions to incredibly common software design problems. There are 23 classic patterns originally laid out in the famous 1994 Gang of Four book. Now, full disclosure here, that original book is written in C++, and it can be a really dry, tough read that doesn't always feel super relevant to modern web dev. But the underlying concepts, they are absolutely vital. Getting a grip on these patterns gives you a profound understanding of object-oriented design. But even more importantly, it teaches you exactly how modern web frameworks actually work under the hood. It takes you from being a beginner who just blindly memorizes code to a real engineer who understands system architecture.
Next up is Step 4, Design and Understand Databases.
This is where the magic happens, right? Where your data actually lives. Because at the end of the day, building backends is fundamentally about storing, securing, and retrieving information. To be effective, you have to understand the two main classes of databases. Over on the left side, we have relational databases. Think of things like MySQL, PostgreSQL, SQL Server, and Oracle. These are strict. They store data in rigid tables with rows and columns, and you talk to them using SQL, structured query language, which actually reads a lot like plain English. These are perfect for stuff requiring complex queries and secure transactions. You know, banking systems, huge e-commerce sites. Then on the right, we have non-relational or NoSQL databases, like MongoDB, CouchDB, or Cassandra. These guys don't use those predefined tables, which makes them super flexible and absolutely ideal for apps that need fluid data models or real-time analytics. Now, you don't need to learn every single database on the market. Just dedicate about 1 month to learning the absolute essence of a popular relational database like MySQL, and then spend another month wrapping your head around a NoSQL option like MongoDB. You can easily pick up the others later on the job.
And finally, we arrive at Step 5, Build APIs with Frameworks.
Okay, this is where that language choice from Step 1 totally comes full circle. A web framework basically hands you a pre-built toolbox for building backends. It handles the heavy lifting for things like routing, security, and database interactions, so you don't have to code all of that from scratch every single time. So if you picked Python earlier, you're going to want to learn Django. If you chose Java, you need Spring Boot. For JavaScript, it's Express.js. C# folks, you're looking at ASP.NET Core. Ruby pairs right up with Ruby on Rails, and Go matches up with Gin. At their core, they all fundamentally do the exact same thing. Since you've already put in the time to build a solid background in your language, your fundamentals, and your databases, you really just need to dedicate roughly 2 months to mastering your specific framework.
So why exactly are we learning these frameworks? Because ultimately, these frameworks allow you to efficiently build and publish APIs, or application programming interfaces. If you're new to the term, APIs are essentially just the communication points that allow a front end, like a cool website or a slick mobile app, to actually talk to your backend to get or post data. Honestly, building, securing, and maintaining these APIs, that is essentially the core job and the everyday reality of a professional backend developer.
All right, let's pull this whole thing together and look at the big picture. We've got 2 months mastering your language, a quick 2 weeks picking up Git, 4 months doing the really hard, essential work on data structures, algorithms, and design patterns, 2 months learning how data is stored across relational and non-relational databases, and finally, 2 months bringing it all to life by building APIs with your web framework. If you time-box these skills over the course of roughly 12 months, dedicating just 3 to 5 hours a day to studying and actually writing code, you aren't just checking boxes. You will be genuinely, deeply ready for those entry-level back-end interviews.
So, knowing that the journey is clearly mapped out for you, knowing that these milestones are completely achievable with a bit of daily consistency, and knowing that you absolutely do not have to learn everything all at once, the only real question left for you to answer is this: which single programming language will you choose today to start your 12-month clock?